Hi everybody, my name is Nicole, and in this video I'm going to be talking about anorexia nervosa. Anorexia is classified as an eating disorder within the DSM-5, and there are 3 different diagnostic criteria that one must meet in order to be diagnosed with anorexia. The first diagnostic criteria is the restriction of energy intake. And basically what that is saying is the restriction of the calories that a person is eating throughout the day. Usually when someone is being assessed for anorexia, they are consuming an extremely low amount of calories throughout the day, certainly not enough to sustain a healthy body weight. The second diagnostic criteria for anorexia is the intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat, and persistent behavior that interferes with weight gain. And the third diagnostic criteria is the disturbance in the way one sees their body or sees their weight, and a persistent lack of recognition of the seriousness of the person's current low body weight. So even though they may be significantly underweight, they really can't understand or recognize the damage that they could be doing to their body because of their low body weight. Within anorexia, there are 2 different subtypes. The first subtype of anorexia is the restricting type. And to be diagnosed with the restricting type of anorexia, the individual must present with a weight loss that is accomplished primarily through dieting, fasting, or excessive exercise. So dieting, probably eating incredibly healthy, low-calorie foods. Fasting, meaning that they're not eating really at all. Or excessive exercise. People may be spending hours upon hours per day exercising as a means of losing weight. The second subtype of anorexia is the binge eating/purging type. And to be diagnosed with this subtype of anorexia, the individual must engage in binge eating behavior or purging behavior. And what that means is that the person is binge eating, meaning that they're consuming large amounts of food, and purging, meaning that they are throwing it up. This can also include the misuse of laxatives, diuretics, or enemas also as a way of losing weight. Usually when people are being assessed for anorexia, the practitioner or assessor who is diagnosing them will use the body mass index, or BMI, as a scale to compare what a healthy weight should be based upon the person's height. Individuals at risk or individuals who have anorexia often will display this intense type of fear of gaining weight or becoming quote-unquote fat. And usually, even if the person loses weight, and it could be a significant amount, they still might not be satisfied with the weight loss and will still engage in behaviors such as not eating or binging and purging to attempt to lose more weight. People with anorexia also often exhibit signs of a distorted sense of self. People looking at them, like friends or family members, might notice that they're incredibly thin, but that person may look in the mirror and think they're incredibly fat. They have a very distorted sense of, their body image, and their self-esteem is very highly dependent on the way that they look and usually the number that is on the scale. Anorexia does include potentially life-threatening medical conditions. Because of the lack of nutritional vitamins and minerals, all the stuff that the body needs in order to function properly, you're not getting that when you're not eating. So anorexia can really affect most of the major organ systems within the body. Along with that, there are physiological disturbances. Women may exhibit the lack of a menstrual cycle and also vital sign abnormalities as well. Some of the things that can physically go wrong with the body because of anorexia can be reversible. However, there are some things like the loss of bone mineral density that sometimes aren't reversible. Along with the physical health problems that can come from anorexia, it can also affect the mental health of the person suffering. Often people with anorexia will experience depressive symptoms, depressed mood, social withdrawal, irritability, insomnia, and sometimes a diminished interest in sex. Also can exhibit obsessive compulsive features, specifically sometimes related to food, but also at other times not related to food. According to two different studies that were completed in the United States, the 12-month prevalence of anorexia ranges from 0.0 to 0.05%, with much higher rates in women than men. That's not to say that a man can't suffer from anorexia, but it is a lot more common in women. It also appears that anorexia is most prevalent in higher income countries, such as the United States and a lot of European countries. Anorexia usually begins during adolescence or young adulthood. Rarely does it begin before puberty or after the age of 40. However, there have been cases in which both of those are true. There are different risk factors associated with developing anorexia. Those who have anxiety disorders or have obsessional traits in childhood are more predisposed to becoming anorexic. And there's also a genetic factor. People who have relatives who are also anorexic may also be more predisposed to becoming anorexic themselves. Being diagnosed with anorexia also increases the risk for suicidal thoughts and behaviors. Rates have been as high as 18 times higher than the control and comparison groups for people diagnosed with anorexia. And along with that, bipolar, depressive, and anxiety disorders also commonly co-occur with anorexia nervosa.